Good morning, natural gas. It's Friday, February 20th, 2026. I'm Tim Beggins, president of Elk Trading Company. And for the spot March contract, it's currently trading at 3.005, up 9 ticks or 0.3%. That's going nowhere fast, unfortunately. We are trading sideways on the RSI. We've got a wall of puts underneath the market. We'll show that in just a second. And we're below the 13 and 48 exponential moving averages. And we continue to remain below that. We've done so for over 2 weeks now. So unfortunately, nowhere fast. Let's take a look at the option expiration is coming up on Tuesday, futures on Wednesday. And here we have a wall of puts underneath the market, 56,941 for the $3 strike. And right below that, at 275 over 43,000. So we've got a lot of puts underneath the market. The weather looks mild across, but it's got some cold in the Northeast and mid-Atlantic states for 2 periods of time here before the month expires. And we'll see whether or not that means anything. Let's take a look at the hourly. And as you can see, we're just below the daily pivot here at 3.017. Unfortunately, right now, we have not been able to break above that. The RSI is open to the upside. And as you can see here, our next resistance is at 307.40, our support at 294. Let's take a look at the front to back spreads. March, April, going nowhere fast. It's just eroding towards zero, currently trading at 4.8 cents, down just 2 ticks here. So it's quite just going nowhere. Unfortunately, the RSI continues to be open to the downside. So again, nowhere fast, eroding towards zero. And here's the April through October strip. It is currently holding actually up to 3,303, up 2.4 cents or 0.73%. The RSI is trying to turn to the upside. So as we tilt into different seasons here, out of winter into spring, we're starting to focus in on this strong injection season we'll need both in the US and Europe. We'll talk about that in a second. How about the weather? Well, right now you see the strong cold coming into the western region. And of course, there's still some in the North Atlantic, New England and mid-Atlantic states. But as we get through the forecast period here, this is the big cold on the 23rd to 24th and 25th. That is, again, upper Midwest here, all the way down to the southeast. And then we get some more cold back potentially on March the 2nd. But then at the end of the forecast period, you can see we're building up heat across the south. This is the GFS model. The European model, slightly different. And the European model has been more accurate this winter. Here's that cold anomaly here. As you can see, we get that cold air coming in through the west. And then we get that Saskatoon Express right from Saskatoon down to Atlanta on the 23rd. That keeps the southeast pretty cold. And as you go forward in the forecast period, it gets all the way down into Florida. And then it gets cold again across the northeast along the eastern seaboard on the 25th. And then we get another wave that comes in around the 27th. And then, of course, then the northeast gets another shock here at March the 2nd. And then we don't know, but it looks like the southeast again gets hit March the 6th. But this is toward the end of the forecast period. So let's see how accurate it is. But right now, as you can see, the remainder of that cold is locked up into Alaska and northern Canada. How about NOAA? Well, the temperature outlook for March is above normal in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. And here's the 3-month outlook. March, April, and May. And of course, it looks normal for this particular time of year. Above normal in the desert Southwest, normal and to slightly above across Texas and Florida. How about Europe? Well, it gets colder here around February the 20th, but as we go through the forecast period, that cold continues to push out toward the east, and it gets fairly mild until we start getting some cooler temperatures coming in off the Atlantic for Spain, France, Switzerland, and Italy. And that lasts all the way through the forecast period here through March the 6th. How about the European storage? Well, 32% full. Germany down to 21.6%. France down to 22.5%. What about the rest of the EU? Well, here's a better map. And look who's the laggard. Netherlands at 13%. Croatia right behind it at 14%. The best, Portugal, at 77% full. So mild temperatures there, helping out with storage. How about Asia? Well, that cold that was forecast for the eastern provinces of China and some cold for the Koreas and Japan, just doesn't materialize on this latest forecast model run. It looks like it just continues to stay in Siberia and Mongolia, never quite reaches into China, the Koreas, or Japan. There's some mild temperatures here at the end of the forecast period. How about the U.S. drought? It gets worse and it continues to expand. We got heavy drought here in Texas, all the way through to Arkansas, all the way back into Ohio and across Florida. So what else is going on? Fire. We've got fire breaking out, obviously, in the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma and other parts of Oklahoma. So we're going to keep a careful eye on this. That around the panhandle of Texas is the granite wash production for natural gas. It's right up in here around the Canadian River, so we'll keep a careful eye on it. We've got heavy fire risk over the next few days. That means strong winds. And here's the U.S. nuclear outages. We've only got two that are out, Grand Gulf in Louisiana, and of course, Palisades is trying to restart sometime potentially in March or April. We've got 4 nuclear units that are about 50% down, but right now, overall, we're in a good situation with the U.S. nuclear outages down to 6.8 gigawatts. How about Golden Pass? Well, she's taking some more gas, 303,245 MMBTU. So that's a good number here. Again, a little bit more than the third for train 1. So it's certainly trying to start up and make some LNG. How about our overall weather? Well, this is the ENSO picture, and we are transitioning from La Nina into ENSO neutral conditions right now, and then we'll transition to El Nino as we get into the heat of summer. That means lower hurricane risk. We could use, though, the rain. How about our stocks? Well, these are stocks, again, in the oil and gas E&P sector, stocks between $2 and $10 billion and have a high short float, over 10%. Right now, currently, SM is the winner here at 11.23%, and our laggards here, of course, like Murphy and CRK, only up 2 and 3%. So recapping again here for the spot March natural gas contract, we're currently trading at 301.30, up 1.7 cents or 0.57%. Going nowhere fast, we've got weekend weather risk and Iran risk. So let's see what happens over the weekend. We'll see you again on Monday. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.